Hi, my name is Claudia and today is the ranking of every complexion product that I tried in 2024, and I'm gonna rank them using a tier list which I created and have already used in my last video of ranking every eye makeup product that I tried in 2024. To get to know more about the tiers, you can refer back to that video, but overall we're gonna have 5 tiers, 5 categories. The first one, the worst one, I call it Only Gets Much Worse. It's a song from Nathan Roos. Is the worst one. This is the product that I would never want to put on my face again, but I mean, I bought them, so I might just use them up. The next category is Try. I don't hate them, but I just don't really like them. Next up, the middle, which is decent products. I like them enough to feel like, oh, I want to put them on my face. Not my favorite though. The next up is called Champagne Problems. I love them. In a way, I can say that I like them, I love them, but there's something wrong about the product that we need to address. And the S tier, the best of the best, I call it Never Enough. Let's start with the ranking. This is the first product in this ranking, not necessarily the first product I tried in 2024. I don't know why I have to explain that. This is the Revolution. She doesn't even go here. From the Mean Girls collection is a loose baking powder. This is a pink loose setting powder. It comes with a little tiny puff that has a heart shape like this, and I do like the dispenser of this loose powder component. So you have this kind of plastic stopper. Usually you would just remove it, but I like to keep it here because I want to keep my puff in the component itself, and I don't want my puff to get in contact directly with the powder itself, in case the powder moves up a little bit and then my puff would be too dirty, too powdery. So I want to keep this kind of plastic stopper there. And the product itself is a decent pink loose setting powder, and for a while I am impressed, also a little bit overwhelmed by the trend of loose setting powder, and people use it to brighten their under eyes, and I was like, oh, maybe I should at once use a real pink setting powder, and just to see how it's gonna work for my under eyes. And I feel like, oh, it's decent. I don't necessarily see the obvious brightening effect with this particular powder. I prefer my Peach Perfect blue setting powder from Too Faced. It's not a real milky pink powder, but it has this peachy, a little bit yellow, a little bit pink, kind of a mixture of both colors in one. I feel like that color specifically works better for my skin tone, and I have to remind myself that not everything trendy is for me. Even when people say, oh, this product is so innovative, we have never thought of using a pink setting powder. Some people, they mix their powder blush with the translucent powder just to create that pinky, velvety under eyes effect. I do think that for certain looks, that pink under eye look could be very flattering and could be in itself photogenic, because yeah, it's definitely gonna look good on photo because it's look cool and interesting, but realistically with my skin tone, I don't think that adding too much of a pinky color right under my eyes would be the most natural, because it's on me, it's on my particular complexions. So I will put this in the middle. It's not a bad powder. It's in the middle because it's just right there. Like, I don't see the long lasting effect a lot, I don't see the mattifying effect a lot, and I don't even care about the brightening effect that this product is designed to provide. So I don't feel bad getting this product because I think I placed an order and I need a couple more dollars to hit free express shipping. So I was like, oh, I should throw this in. It's under 10 Australian dollars, but I have to highlight, you only get 3.2 grams of product in here, which is insane. Like, for example, this powder, it has 8 grams of product in a pressed powder, in a compact. And you know, like high-end brands, sometimes they release a loose powder. It's in a big container, a big top container. The Laura Mercier one, the Too Faced, the Fenty one, they all have around 20 to 30 grams of product in a loose setting powder. And this one, it's so unaffordable, like it's so uneconomical to get a powder that only has 3 grams of product in it. So if you break it down, maybe I gave it a stretch by putting it in the middle, because thinking of the price, this is so expensive for a powder from Revolutions, and it's not even performs as well. But that's my tension of the price. If you just like take the price out of the equations, it still deserves in the middle. Next up, I want to talk about this concealer. This is the Dior Backstage Flash Perfector concealer. I have in the shade 1W. This is a phenomenal concealer. I've never tried a texture quite like this in a concealer before, so I'm very impressed. Like, it impressed me in a very good way. You have 13 milliliter of product in it. So I think because we are in the mood of breaking down product by net weight, just to tell how economical they are, I guess I'll just tell you it actually has 13 mil of product in it, equating to 0.43 fluid ounce in this product, which is a healthy amount for a concealer. And we have to think of where we put our money in, because when you buy high-end product, it's definitely expensive, but you get way more product. So maybe it's a factor that we should consider in the future when we consider the price point between drugstore and high-end makeup. But anyway, getting back to this product, it has a natural matte finish that it's just a right finish to me. Like, it's just a right texture. I feel like it's very easy to blend even though it dries down. You can find maybe a video of me applying this, and you can see that if I have applied my product on both eyes and then I blend one out, I actually had to try a little bit harder to blend the other out afterwards, because the product actually dries out. I didn't have any difficulty at all blending that side out, even though the texture dries out a little bit. It's just beautiful. It stays on my skin so well. It has the most gorgeous light to medium, even though they claim this product to be high coverage. I feel like it's only a light medium coverage, which I already like. And I've never seen a matte finish that looks as natural as this. So it surprised me and impressed me, because I never paid this much money on a concealer, and maybe I want to like dip my toe in the high-end and luxury kind of world, and just to see what's the difference. Like, because I think I don't try as many products as I wish I could, because I couldn't afford that. but I might want to focus on the quality over quantity. Not, I don't say it in a way that I assume that drugstore makeup, because of the price point we can buy more products, so it lowers the quality of the bunch as a whole. I feel like maybe when you invest in a product, when you do more research on the product and you can pinpoint, oh, this is the brand that I could trust, maybe the product can give you the quality that is more up there to balance your expectations. Or else if you try a lot of drugstore products, it's rather the probability that you can find a good product. But this one is so immaculate. I want to put it in Never Enough, and I will, and I definitely consider it to be one of the best concealers that I've ever tried in my life. I want more of this fluid right here. Ooh, and we have an affordable concealer here. This is the Gogo Soft Moist Pocket Concealer. It's a C Beauty brand. You have a grade contouring shade. They say that you can use this to correct your blemishes, but in my preferable way, I would want to use this more as a contour shade. And you have a true concealer shade and kind of a salmony, I call it like a peachy salmony, kind of a correcting shade to me. To be honest, I don't really enjoy working with this product. I don't think that these three, they are hard to work with. It just sometimes I feel like they are not for me, and I don't want to feel that about myself. Like, I want to purchase something and I want to know that it works for me in a lot of ways. I want to use it in multiple ways. But these two shades, you can tell this is a bit more peachy. This one is more truer to my skin tone, but they turn out to be very light on my skin. This one, it doesn't correct my skin the way I want it to be. It definitely has some peachy quality in it, but on my skin it turns out to be very light. It seems to be a bit chalky. Like, the color is very white and chalky. This one as well, like, it's supposed to match my skin tone. I want to use it as a blemish correcting shade, like my NARS Soft Complete Concealer, but it doesn't because it's very light, and the contouring, it also appears to be very light on my skin tone, so it doesn't contour as much as I want, and that's a problem with the shade. The formulation, the texture is very emollient and very oily. It's keep moving around while I applying the product, so a little bit goes a very long way, because I feel like the oil kind of holds all of the particles together, so that when you apply a daughter product, you didn't know that it's gonna hold a lot of product in that pea-sized amount, for example. So the more you blend, the more oils that you are spreading out on your face. I hope it makes sense, because I feel like even when I apply a tiny bit of product, I measure it using like a small brush, or like I apply a small brush of product on my under eyes. I blend out with a sponge, but I keep blending, the product keep moving, and there's more product and there's more product. I don't want that super emollient feeling on my skin, because I feel like I cannot control the amount. Unlike this one, I feel like because of the natural matte finish, and it dries down, so you know how much you already apply on your skin. I don't hate it as much as I sound. I would put this product on the try categories. Like, I know they want to make a product that works for a lot of purposes. Eventually it might work for a lot of skin tone, because it's not targeting towards a sun skin tone. So if you don't feel like you can use this as a concealer, you might want to use it to like spot concealing, so just to use it on a certain areas on your face. So I feel like they want to make it as versatile as possible. I think that if I can find a way to use this product more efficiently, I will feel better about this product. So I want to put in the try categories as a hopeful state that maybe I will find a way to make it work. But right now, it's meh. If you remember this powder, this is the SHEGLAM Rebuild Morty Never Ricky Morty setting powder. This is a very cool powder. It has a special effect on the paint itself. What's it called? Like, I just learned that word. They use that a lot in a lot of packaging. I think I watched a video talking about a glam light palette. Lenticle? Ooh, it's called lenticular printing, a technology in which lenticular lenses are used to produce printed images with an illusion of depth or the ability to change or move as they are viewed from different angles. Lenticular effect. It's good that I learned that word. Like, I just want to like use a wrong word. Like, at one point I think I used the word holographic, which is not correct. Lenticular. I love it. I love this cool idea. This is my kind of favorite collaborations. When they do these collaborations with Rick and Morty, I was just like, I was thrilled because I love the show, but it's from SHEGLAM. I don't want to go too much into the ethics of the brand SHEGLAM because I did make a whole video and I spent a grade in terms of like how long I spent on that section just to talk about what I think about SHEGLAM as a brand. So you might want to check it out just to see how I view the brand. This is about the product, and I think this product is really cool in terms of the packaging, in terms of the collaborations, because I love Rick and Morty. Speaking of the powder only, it's a decent powder. I don't see anything special about this powder, and I want to keep it as a product review type of ranking. I don't want to put too much sentiment of me only in this ranking because it would make everything sounds like a tangent because oh, there's some sentiment or some product and I don't want to just to get involved in it and it could cloud my judgment, you know what I mean? So the product itself is very average, so I'll put it in the middle. But this is the product that I don't want to use up. Maybe I'll just keep it in these pristine conditions. I've used it a couple of times, but I didn't want to ruin this effect, so I just kind of like tried to put my brush around the perimeter of the powder and just try to use the white powder itself. It's pretty average. It's a white translucent powder. Sometimes it has a bit of a white cast, but not too strong. Doesn't make my makeup last longer. Doesn't feel super mattifying, which what I would want in a translucent powder. And because of the whiteness of the powder, it doesn't mesh perfectly into my yellow neutral undertone. For that reason, it's in the middle. This is another concealer. This is the Essence Multitask Concealer Erase, Cover and Care. I do believe it has some sort of skincare ingredient in this tube, probably hyaluronic acid. Okay, hyaluronic acid and caffeine. So they love putting those two skincare ingredients in a concealer to help making your eyes a little bit more hydrated, a little bit more awakened. I don't see that a lot because I don't use that much concealer just to see the before and after effect. maybe, or I don't really care. I just wanted to cover my a little bit bluish, a little bit purplish under eyes, and that's it. If you can cover it, I'll give it a pass. Talking about how much product is in the tube, I'm surprised. You have 3 ml product in it, which is 0.1 fluid ounce compared to 0.43 fluid ounce in this Dior one. So geez, like a quarter of the product in this product. It's like I don't think that I've used it this much, but a lot has gone already. So you don't get a lot in this kind of like twist up pen kind of a product. It is a very beautiful hydrating concealer. This is one of my first experiences with dewy hydrating concealer, and I'm getting used to working with a dewy hydrating concealer like this. So I don't think that I have learned all of the skills and all of the techniques, what powder that I should pair it with, and how to, you know, set it with certain amount of powder. So I love this concealer. I couldn't quite put it in the never enough categories. So I would put it in champagne problems. The only problem that I've just said is that I have not learned the correct way to manipulate a hydrating concealer to work on my oily skin. I do experience some sort of like movement and melting when I apply this concealer when I don't set it properly. And I think in my defense, because I have oily skin, my priority is not definitely to hydrate my under eyes. I want to cover my under eyes, also to keep it away from the oil that is secreted around this area where all of the pores are concentrated. So I feel like it's kind of a learning curve for me, and I'm not quite at the peak of that learning curve. So I'll put it in the champagne problems, and maybe when I use it up, and it would be unfortunate if I use it up and then I learned how to work with it, then I have to repurchase it. But I do think that I will find a way to make it work for me and work for so many occasions, but then I still have to repurchase it, and it's affordable, so I don't really mind. But I think it's definitely more worth it to get something like this, get something that's reliable, something that has the ultimate finish, the Goldilocks texture that you already know that is gonna work for you at all time, at all costs, at any effort. Another powder, this is from a K-beauty brand. It's called About Toned. This is, what's it called? Glow Powder Pact. I think it's called Glow Powder. Okay, Glow Powder Pact. Sorry, I had that confusions because in the past I tried this Eclipse Glow Powder Pact, and then they rebranded into About Toned, and they keep the name, so I'm not sure whether they have changed the name or they keep the same one. This is the old versions. It has a pink tint in it, and this is the absolute favorite glowy powder in my collections. And I, as you can tell, almost finished with this one, and I have to stop myself from using this up because I don't want to. I haven't found a replacement for this glowy kind of powder. So I was just thinking I would want to try this, but I knew from the look that this is not the same. It doesn't have that pink tint anymore, but I was like, I have hope. Like, this color is not a pink tinted powder, but it has this, you know, like skin tone kind of color. Maybe they just changed the color a little bit, the texture, the finish would be the same. No, it's not. It is the total different finish. This one is luminous. You can see the shimmering particle, but it's very, very subtle. The glowiness is so refining, so subtle, so sophisticated. This one is a highlighter that tries to fool you to be used as a powder, and I don't like it. I don't like the fact that this is way glowier than this one. And I know it's a rebrand. They brought back this compact powder in the same kind of shape, the same kind of packaging, give it the same name. They don't want to keep the actual powder. I don't know why. Maybe the ownership of the brand has changed, or they have some change in management and directory policies that they couldn't keep the same formula. But I'm quite upset because I know I love this powder. I just want the same powder. And it's not flattering at all. It's a powder. It's so glowy. It's so shimmery. It makes my skin look wet. And I have oily skin. I already have oil around my nose. I don't want this area. Like usually I would set it under my eyes. Not right under my eyes. But like in this zone right here. Just to blend the powder and the highlighter together. Because it just gorgeous that way. But I don't get the powder that I want in this one, and it's look terrible, and I'm upset. So in my very biased opinion, I will put it in it only get much worse, because I don't think in a process of making a powder you can make anything worse than this. And I do believe, like, I'm a scientifically skeptical person, so I do believe there are worse powders out there, because what is the likelihood that this is the worst powder that has ever been created? But I think up to my limitations as a makeup user, and I cannot try all of a single powder out there, this is just so bad. This is the worst finish that I ever have to experience using a powder. And I'm so heated right now, but I will continue to use it. Maybe one day I will be into that extremely glowy, extremely highlighty kind of look on my skin. Maybe if I use it more lightly as a finishing powder, using it very, very lightly on the perimeter of my face, it might work, but I'm not hopeful. Not hopeful at all. Okay, enough about the worst powder. Let's talk about a genuinely good powder. Oh, I have to open it. This is from Jewelland. It was released as a blush, but look at the color. It could be a blush. Alice on my Homo sapien skin tone, but I use it as a correcting powder, and it's very, very good to correct my redness. I'm not wearing any concealer right now, so you probably can tell that I have a lot of redness around my nose, on my cheeks as well, like right concentrated on the apple of my cheeks. So I use this one just to like correct this area. The green tint is very subtle. You can say that, oh, correctors, they are such a scam and they might not be as effective as we wish they could be. To a certain extent, I would agree with that, but I do see a lot of correcting benefit using this one. So like right on my redness, I can tell that the greenness in this powder cancel out the redness without turning it to white. So for example, if I use a white powder like this, sometimes on top of my red areas, I can see that, oh, it just sits on top and turning that area into a pink area. This one actually neutralizes the area and turning it into this yellowish neutral kind of complexion color that matches right down to my actual undertone. It's quite unique and I enjoy using this. I will put this in Champagne Problems. This is a touch-up kind of finishing powder. It's not a setting powder to me. I would want maybe a loose green setting powder or a powder with maybe like more mattifying quality in it, I don't feel like this powder is strong enough. And obviously this is a product that was formulated as a blush, so I don't think that they have this oil controlling quality in them to work as an actual setting powder, so I don't really blame the product for that reason only. But because I use it as a powder and I do want the finish to be a little bit more mattifying to help control my oils a little bit better, I would put it in the Champagne Problems. But it's so affordable for a product like this, and if you want to try to use a color correcting powder and you want just to test the water, I think this is a very affordable and approachable choice, because for the price you can get a few shades to use as a finishing powder, like a base powder, just to see if the color actually works on your problems. Yeah, I think it's just a cool and genius idea to have a powder like this. It's very compacted as well, so it works for a lot of like details on your face. The final product is a primer. I only tried 8 complexion products this year, so it's not an extensive review ranking video as maybe you would expect something that's longer, but it's not. Just 8 products that I tried this year, but I'm happy with the numbers and the quality of the ones that I chose to buy for myself. The last one is the Marriott Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. I bought it to use it as a skincare product, but I think originally it was advertised as a skincare lash primer kind of a product, so I would want to put it in this video and just to review it as a primer, like glowy primer, and it's very cool. It had 2 faces here. There's an oil face on top and a water face down here, and when you use it, I think we are meant to like shake it up like this. I do love a hydrating primer because it's never hurts to add a little bit of moisture on my skin. Like maybe I experience a little bit of a dehydration that day and I want my skin to look a little bit plumped, I would want that. But this is a straight up glowy primer that makes my skin look very dewy. Like I have like a glaze of oil on my skin. I don't think that's bad, but it does look pretty odd on my oily skin, knowing that everything that I put on top would look a little bit out of character for me. I want a mattified, natural velvet canvas on my face. That's my ideal complexion. This one, I think I was sold a little bit, just a little bit. I don't think that I'm totally sold a fantasy to Marriott, a great skin kind of a makeup. And I do think that their line relies on that gray skin donut glaze kind of finish, and good on them. That's their aesthetic, that's their strategies when it comes to create their products, which is fine to me. But I don't think that this is a product for me. I will put it in the middle because I do like the feeling of, okay, my skin get a little bit of hydration here. And I don't think that for a glowy primer, this is like extremely glowy and it will feel like heavy in an oily way on my skin. I just feel like I don't totally feel like that would be the finish that could make my makeup look last longer or looking a little bit better as I wear my makeup look out. Like, you know, you want a look, a finish that as you wear it throughout the day, you feel like, oh, it wears off, but it does wear off in a very elegant way. My makeup does look a little bit melty, a little bit greasy. It just doesn't look as good as I start my makeup look with a matte finish. So I will put it in the middle, and I will consider my impressions on the brand merit. Like, I do think that I base a lot of my reviews and a lot of my opinions by my own experience, and I try to buy the products that may be a little bit out of reach for me in terms of the utility theory, like how much that product will add into my collections based on my own experience, because we experience makeup very, very differently. Something that might work for someone, it might not work for the other. And do we keep thinking about a product as a product itself, or as the experience we have with the product? Those two are so different and so complex, but I hope it makes sense that a lot of the reviews right now is based on my own experience and my own method of using them and applying them to my own face, and we do have some differences in the way that we manipulate makeup the way that we want, and our style of makeup could be different too. So that's it. That's everything complexion related that I try in 2024. Once again, I'm Cloudy, and hopefully we see each other again. Bye!